I think she should be a twos on poke. She's 6-4. I cannot have be in the mare's chase.
What price to be 20?
20 to 1.
I think he's a very good each way proposition in the per temps.
My best chance to win her, I think, in 2 weeks' time is.
Hello and welcome to this very special episode of GG Weekend Watch, because this is our 2026 Cheltenham Festival Preview Special Show. Quite the mouthful, loads to get stuck into. If you're new here, this is our special studio space. We use this for very important occasions, and they don't come more important than the Cheltenham Festival. So we're going to follow the usual format where the lads will run through their top 10 best bets ahead of the Cheltenham Festival. As well as that, we're also going to be talking to Betano brand ambassador Olly Murphy about his string ahead of Cheltenham. This is sponsored by Betano as well, so a big thank you to them. And they also have an offer for you. Get £40 in free bets when you bet £10. T's and C's apply. So do make sure to head over to Betano for that. As well as this, we also have the quiz, everyone's favourite part. No doubt the lads are very excited for that. Suited and booted, dressed accordingly, Dave Young and Andrew Mount. How are you feeling ahead of Cheltenham?
Yeah, got the email about the wearing navy blue. So
I know, we've come so colour
uniform.
Coordinated. We did not plan this, contrary to popular belief. We did not plan this, but yeah, looking fantastic.
Yeah, they're nervous about the quiz, not revised at all. Can only disgrace myself.
Oh, there you go then, Dave. Hopefully you've got some more confidence.
Probably not. But one question could be enough to win it this year, couldn't it? But yeah, I'm just excited. Obviously, it's all about Cheltenham for me all year round. This is the best time, and this year's Cheltenham Festival seems to be a bit more exciting than 12 months ago. Hopefully we get some better results. I'm full of confidence. I think I've learned from last year as well with the amount of times you said, what, another British trained runner? So we've got loads of Willies in here.
Oh, wow, yeah, quite something there. But yeah, really looking forward to it. The Pressbury Cup as well. It might just be coming home with the chances for the British, I was going to say Raiders, but they're on home turf. So for the British trainers and jockeys alike then, so loads to get stuck into. Whilst you are there watching this, do remember to like and subscribe to the channel, because it is because of your support why we're able to be here in this studio space. So a big thank you to all of you for that continued support. Right, we better drive on then with the action, beginning the 10 to 6 countdown for the lads' best bets. Andrew, do you want to go first? Your 10th best bet.
Yeah, 10th is an old friend of ours, Adam for the Coral Cup.
Yeah.
The old boy. He's an 11-year-old. This will be his 6th appearance at the Cheltenham Festival. The first one of those, someone finished second to appreciate it in the 2021 Supreme. Next year, he was 5th of 26 to Stateman in the County Hurdle, went a 15 to 1 shot. Following year, back for the County Hurdle again, finishing 5th. And the last 2 years, he's run in the Coral Cup. Now, the first of those, he bumped into handicap Blot Langadan.
Yeah.
I put him up each way in my column that year, 16 to 1 into 13 to 2, ran a cracking race. And last year, he was 16 to 1 SP, and he's finished placed again, this time finishing 3rd to GG.CO.UK. So he's had a nice prep in a maiden at Dundalk, finishing 3rd. And I think everything's been geared up to Cheltenham again. And having done it 5 times in a row, why can't you run a good race at the Cheltenham Festival for the 6th time, despite advancing years? So it's a big price as well, I think. So yeah, 25 to 1 each way, that appeals to me. He fits the stats as well. He's a horse aged 7 or older. He's probably going to be in the top 6 in the weights, and that's found 6 the past 10 Coral Cup winners for a profit of £92.50. So Ballyadam.
Ballyadam, good way to start. Yeah, he is an old boy now. It feels like he's been around forever, so that makes sense with the age that he actually is. 25 to 1 with Betano for Andrew's opening bet there in the Coral Cup with Ballyadam. Right, Dave, your 10th best bet.
It's not quite as old as Andrew's. Actually, he's just a 5-year-old. It's Wendrock, who was a horse that I fancied last year for the Fred Winter. He was given an opening mark, or a British mark, of 136 in that race, which I thought was a little bit harsh. He ran really well in that race, though, still. Stayed on quite nicely towards the closing stages. He was tried in better company after, including the Aintree Festival. I think he went to Punchestown too. And he's been tried in better company this season as well. But he's just sort of been found out in that better company. His run last time in the DRF was over 3 miles on sloppy ground, which didn't see him to best effect. But if you go back to his penultimate run, which was over the same distance as this at Leopardstown, he ran really well. He stayed on just as strongly in the finish as the horse that finished 3rd. That horse went and won at the DRF in that 3-mile handicap. And he was out the back of the telly as well, like you couldn't see him in the picture when rocking that Christmas run. So I think that was a really good performance. Prior to that, he was in a graded race under Jack Kennedy. But mentioning Jack Kennedy there, 3 of his runs this season, he's been ridden by claiming jockeys. And Wendrock in the Martin Pipe, we know it's a conditional rider's race. I feel like once he gets jocked up on as basically being Gordon's first string, his price is going to collapse. I think he's 16-1, which is, well, I think he is 16-1, it says on the screen, but I think that's a massive price. I think he should be a lot shorter than that. And I think, like I say, when the jockey bookings come out, he'll shorten up even further. In this particular race, every year I'll talk about Gigginstown here because they had a really good spell a while back. Now, they have just had 3 winners from 20 runners in the race, but they still show a 90% return on investment to SP. Gordon Elliott's obviously got a great record in this race. He's won the last 2 years, albeit not for Gigginstown horses, but he did win it in 2017 and 2018 for Gigginstown. In 2020, they were arguably unlucky with Colin Maffire, so I think that Wendrock's got massive chance in the Martin Pipe. He might not quite be the trends like profile horse for this race, but given the conditions have changed, and Gordon obviously knows how to ready one for this particular race, maybe trends can take a back seat in this one. And I think Wendrock at 16-1 is a good bet to start things off.
I tell you what, we have started well, haven't we? A 25-1 shot and a 16-1 shot for both of your 2 opening bets here. 16-1 with Bitano. Right, Andrew, number 9.
Yeah, I'm going to the Dawn Run. You know I love a mare's race.
Yes, yeah. So good thing that we've got here.
Yeah, this is Carrick-Morna Spruce for Declan Quealy. Now, what I like about her is a consistent profile. She's had 9 runs. She's won 4 of them. She's finished 2nd or 3rd in the other 5. And she's a hold-up performer, which is what I look for in this race because you're usually getting a big field, a lot of front runners, and they can serve it up for a closer. Certainly the each-way angle here, I'm expecting Carrick-Morna Spruce to be finishing to good effect. Now, last time out, she ran 2nd in Grade 1 company. That was against the boys behind Skylight Hustle at Leopardstown on the 27th of December. And she beat a horseman we'll come to later, Sortudo, in a Leopardstown bumper a couple of years ago when a 10-1 shot. And again, doing well to quicken off a steady pace and come late to win that. So she's going to love the tempo of this race. I think it's a case of the bigger the field, the better for her. You look at her wins, 3 of them have come in double-figure size fields, the latest in the field of 18 runners. I think the hurly-burly of the festival suit she'll be arriving on the premises late, and I think she's going to run a really good race each way here.
And you've also put the feelers out there for a potential horse later on then in the list as well. So nicely done.
Yep, that's right. We can link those up in a double as well, just in case that form line's the right one to follow.
Yeah, well, sounds like it's going to be the right one to follow on that basis. 14-1 for the Mares Novices Hurdle. Dave, you're number 9.
So my number 9 is the first of my British runners. It's Madara for the plate. If we're going to tip a British trainer in a handicap, it's got to be Dan Scarron, isn't it?
Yeah.
Much has been made of the ride on Madara last time at Kempton. It probably on first look maybe appeared that Harry Skelton wasn't really going hammer and tong on the horse, but the way the horse jumped the flights and the way the horse responded after the back of the last, it didn't look like he had bundles more to give, so that might sound like a negative, but he stayed on nicely towards the finish, clinched 2nd, and it was just his 2nd start after a bit of a layoff. I think he was off for nearly a year. So he progressed from first run to 2nd run. Now, when he ran a couple of seasons ago in the December Gold Cup, he was beaten just a length. That was a pretty decent effort. That was on the new course, and that was where his only win's been. So my only slight caveat with Madara on this course, which is why he's as far down the list as he is. A marker 140 might also look like a complete gift. So again, another reason why he's near the bottom, but he has run 2 of his best runs for his new yard, producing RPRs that are in excess of that official rating of 140. They've brought him about as a horse that clearly has more improvement to come. We know they like to target festivals, so I think Madara for the plate deserves to be where he is in the market. All of the last 10 winners of this race had won this season, and that includes 6 of the last 7 had actually won last time out. There's been no headgear wearing winner of this race since 2003, and I'm pretty sure they're going to put cheek pieces back on Madara. So as much as I'm fairly confident he warrants favouritism, I've obviously put a few factors in there that might suggest why he's I guess why my enthusiasm is a little bit tempered with him, but I don't expect Madara to go well in the plate. I think the race is cutting up a bit now, and I think that, that's going to be a winner for Britain.
That's fascinating on the headgear angle, and potentially, to put you off rather than a lot of people are going to be buoyed by seeing that. But actually, going back down through the stats, maybe it may not be a negative if Madara does not get the headgear reapplied there. 9-2 though with Bitano ahead of the plate. Right, number 8, Andrew.
Right, I'm going to the Ultima. One of my favourite races at
Yes,
the
of
festival.
course. You've got a cracking record in the Ulster, haven't you?
Yeah, thank
Not
you very much.
riding in it, obviously, but tipping up wise.
I wasn't going to mention tipping last year's winner, My Town at 16 to 1 in my column, who
Yes.
won at 13 to 2.
And was it the big Venetia Williams horse a few years ago?
Oh, that was Chambord in the
Was that in the Kinmuir?
Kinmuir
Ah,
race.
yeah.
But I
How much of a muchness the Ulster and the Kinmuir?
Well, I do love the two races. They used to be on the same day, but
Yeah.
probably before you were born, when it was a 3-day festival. It used to be on the Tuesday. But yeah, indoor, as you mentioned, the Kinmuir is entered in the Kinmuir as well as the Ultima. I've put him up for the Ultima, but if he does run in the other race, I will no doubt get involved as well. This is a horse I mentioned in our jump season preview, having been sold for 220 grand with the David Maxwell dispersal sale. And he was a big eye catcher for Venetia Williams last year because he actually won twice under David Maxwell. And my modus operandi was that with that jockey was just to like lay him in running, and did my absolute cobblers when he won at Taunton, and then decided to lose some more
Serves
money.
you right.
Exactly.
Serves you right.
Decided to lose some more money when he won at Ascot by 4 lengths next time. The first of those wins came over Heracles Westwood. That's been well fancied. Now the 2 runs for Fergal O'Brien. The first of them, he finished 3rd at Sandown. Useful effort. He did best of the closers when it paid to be on the front end, as it often does over that course and distance. And then the next time he's gone to Ascot the 17th of January. He's bumped into the Duke's Box Kid and Montregard, finishing 3rd, again doing best of the closers. Now that race, the winner and the winner, of course, won the Reynoldstown graded contest at Ascot. Montregard won a handicap next time out. And the only other one of the first 6 home to have run since was 6th place Ism, who came out and won since. So the 3 horses who've come out of that race in the top 6 have won since. And indoor, although his patient running style perhaps not 100% ideal for the Ultima, after we saw Maya Town's demolition job from the front last time out, I think each way he's going to run a big race, whichever of those races he goes in, hopefully the Ultimate.
Yes, hopefully so. 16 to 1 for the Ultimate for indoor as Andrew's 8th best bet. Dave, you're number 8.
So I'm dipping my toe into graded company now. It's another Gigginstown runner. It's another Gordon Elliott trained runner. It's Ballyfad, hopefully in the Turners. He's got the option of the Supreme at the moment. The vibes I get from Gordon Elliott on some of the previews that he's been doing is that I don't think Gigginstown really care where he goes, but they've probably got a preference for a runner in the Supreme. And Gordon wants this horse to step up and trip, as do I. He's been running at 2 miles. He started in bumpers this season, which might not be the typical sort of style to go into a Grade 1 at Cheltenham Festival, but he's been like really impressive with all of his starts this season. The fact that he's run at 2 miles, I did look a little bit into the breeding of him. His sire's, I can't remember the sire's name, but the sire's produced Jasmine Defoe. He hasn't got that many jumps progeny, and obviously he's won an Albert Bartlett. The dam sire's Brian Brew. There's plenty of stays in the family, so I think he is bred to stay. Also on the fact that I think the way that he races, he looks like a horse that's going to stay too. In both those bumpers at the start of the season, it definitely wasn't speed that won those races, it was stamina. He got headed in both of them. The penultimate run, or the second run that he ran in, he was outpaced, got passed by both the horses, and then sort of threaded the needle to go past them again. So it was a really good effort. His hurdle debut was pretty good as well, because he ran at Leopardstown. And for all the fact that I say that he hasn't got that much speed as a 2-miler, he took his time to get into top gear, but he managed to burn him off as they turned for home, as they rounded the bend. He beat Leader Dalier that day. Now, that horse has come out and bolted up since. It's still a fair price for a Supreme, about a 10s or 12 to 1 shot, I think, Leader Dalier. And then the only caveat to that form being franked is the fact that Danny Mullins rode him the first time behind Ballyfad, and then Paul Townend picked up the ride after. So you suggest he maybe wasn't all out the first time out. But if you look at what he did in the DR effort, in that Grade 1 Tatzel and Novices Hurdle, where he was just beaten by Talk the Talk, I thought he'd won as they crossed the line, so it was that close of a finish. We've got Talk the Talk, who's well fancy for a Supreme. I think the way that he ran in that race, King Rasco Grey was next to him, Ballyfad, and Ballyfad just wouldn't let him go past. I think this horse has just got a never lay down attitude, and Talk the Talk sort of pinched his pocket as he went on the outside of him. I think that is really strong form in the context of this race, and he travels through his races really nicely. He just seems to get outpaced over 2 miles. He does stay as far as I'm concerned, and I think that he'll be able to travel strongly through a Turners. The way that they turn in the Turners as well, I feel like if Jack Kennedy can kick early enough and get him into a high gear with that never say die attitude, I don't think there's a horse that will go past him. So he's a fair price for the Turners as far as I'm concerned. The yard do have Skylight Hustle in there as well, who's a shorter price at the time of recording. I think if Ballyfad goes here, Jack Kennedy will ride him. That's going to see his price contract, and I think he's got a right chance in the Turners.
Yeah, and he's a nice price as well at 7 to 1. Turbinaco it is for sire. News to me. I just thought as you were talking about that, I'd better bring up his pedigree just to see. But yeah, Towanako. I was not guessing that by any means,
No,
but the
there's
Brian Baru side I know.
Yeah, that's it. There's not a lot from the side for Jumps Prodigy, but luckily Jasmine DeVoe is the dad of that, and obviously he's won a champion bumper in Albert Bartlett. So I think he's with that type of horse, a fair bumper horse. As soon as he goes out and trip, we're going to see the best of him, and hopefully they do that for this race.
Yeah, 7-1 with Bitano ahead of the Turners and Novices Hurdle. Number 7, Mr. Mount.
Yeah, I'm going for Asker Brewster. This time the Kim Muir. He's also entered in the Ultimate, but looks unlikely to get in that as he's running off a handicap mark of 128. He might not get in the Kim Muir, but if he doesn't, bear him in mind for entry or air. The key to this one is time of year. He should have been a hedgehog because he tends to go to sleep during the winter months. Between November and December, he's had 9 runs. Sorry, between November and February, he's had 9 runs. He's lost every single one. The latest of those was a modest 5th behind O'Connell at Sandown in December. Now, in the warmer months, March to October, 5 runs, 5 wins, profit of £27.16 to a £1 level stake. Now, he signed off last season with an 8-length victory on the new course at Cheltenham at the April meeting, and he reappeared at Chepstow's mid-October meeting when run on very fast ground, and he won by just over 4 lengths that day. So obviously it's a case of the quicker the ground, the better. The ground is faster on the new course, according to the clock. The course quoted earlier this week. Hopefully it'll be, dry out to sort of good to soft if he does get into the race. But he's a horse to side with in the spring, summer and early autumn. And hopefully he gets into the Kim Muir, runs a big race. If not, look out for him later this spring.
Just get him a shoebox, some cotton wool, and just put him away for the winter into hibernation. The hedgehog horse, Ask Brewster, is number 7 on Andrew's list. Number 7 on your list, Dave.
So number 7 on my list definitely could have been a lot higher. I'm pretty confident on this one, but he's down at 7 because of his Cheltenham form and Cheltenham Festival form. It's Ilete Tomps in the Champion Chase. I think he's completely and utterly forgotten horse in this market, and that might sound like a silly thing to say when he's only, 7-1, 6-1 for the race. But he was favourite after his Tingle Creek demolition of John Bon. That was his 4th, 170 or higher RPR from his last 6 starts. That's 2 more than Marine National has ever achieved in his career in terms of ratings. He's 7 wins from 10 chase starts as well, so he is fairly prolific. I think, again, Marine National's 3 from 9 maybe, Madsborough's maybe 3 from 6 or something similar to that, maybe 4 from 6. But he's putting up loads of big numbers. He's jumped really well in most of his races, and I know he jumped really badly at Ascot, but I can forgive any horse for making mistakes around Ascot. And of course, we talked about quite a lot with Ilete Tomps last season, or a couple of seasons ago, when he was bad in the Arkle, but he ran really well behind Gaelic War after making loads of mistakes, sort of had no business finishing as close as he did. He went to Aintree the time after and put up 170 RPR as a novice, which was phenomenal. He went to Punchestown and beat Gaelic Warrior again after. So in that sphere, he ran Cheltenham, Aintree, Punchestown, ran well at Cheltenham, won at Aintree, won at Punchestown. So he's a horse that thrives on lots of racing. But when he beat John Bon in that Celebration Chase, which was his first run in open company, he's taken on John Bon in his backyard. He had a 369-day layoff and he battered him then as well. So he's definitely proved that he is a good horse. He's got lots of high 170 RPRs, like I've already touched on. Madsborough's run at the DRF was definitely very good. It was 179 RPRs, so that's £3 higher than anything that Ilete Tomps has achieved. But Ilete Tomps has backed it up time and time again. Madsborough hasn't. And where we've got concerns potentially about Madsborough's jumping, which I think is rightly so, we could have concerns about Ilete Tomps based on what he did at Ascot and, like I say, what he did at Cheltenham before, but we've also seen him putting in clean rounds straight off the back of that. Marine National made a howler on his first run this season where he almost lost his jockey, and it made the performance look really good in how close he got to the winner that day. But he can still throw in mistakes. So I think in a race where you could question everyone's jumping at the front of the market, and in a race where we've seen it be a favourites graveyard for a long time, I can't believe he's 6-1. And I think this is the chance for him to get sort of redemption at Cheltenham, because he was a horse that was fancied in a Triumph, but they said they'd keep him back to go and win a Supreme. Then he changed ownership, and he sort of became a bit of a forgotten horse in that right as well. But he's definitely a proper Grade 1 tracer. I think he's the best horse in the race. 6-1 is probably offensive. I think he's got a right chance.
Oh, I so hope you're right. I mean, he'll probably have the benefit of me not being sat on his back in one of the mornings going into this year's Cheltenham Festival, which will probably be the positive then for Ilete Tomps. 6-1 with Bitano does look a very fair price, doesn't it? Right, Andrew, last selection in this part of the show, number 6.
Yeah, I'm going for Oscar's brother in the Brown Advisory on the Wednesday. This is a horse I cottoned onto very early, ahead of his rules debut in the Cork and Maiden Hurdle over 3 miles back in January 2024. He went into that on the back of 3 runner-up efforts in point-to-points, and he was back late. He was sort of 66-1 and bigger, went off at 25-1. A sort of rules debutant in the Maiden Hurdle, running against an odds-on favourite of Willie Mullins, Lodgy Hill, and he ran an absolute stormer. Now, that Cork meeting favoured early pace, and he was the only one of the first 6 to come from off the pace to run any sort of race. He finished second, less than 3 lengths behind the winner. He beat the next closer to finish the race by 50 lengths, and he won next time out. He back from 2-1 into 11-10, won by 13 lengths in Maiden Hurdle Company. Changed yards shortly afterwards, went to Connor King, and he's improved as he's gone over fences, improved for a trip over fences too, and he's won his last 3 starts over 2 miles 6 or further. Latterly by 6 lengths from the Warpart, where he wore the JP McManus colours for the first time. So I think he's most progressive. That Grade 2 win at Navan on the 8th of February came after a winter break, and I think he's going to run a big race at Cheltenham. Ideally, if you could choose the ground, you'd go for soft, maybe even heavy, to inconvenience some of the others. But he's got plenty of form on good ground or good yielding ground. So I think whatever they're going, Oscar's brother's going to run a big race.
10-1 in the Brown Advisory Novices Chase with Batano. Oscar's brother, number 6 for Andrew, number 6 for you, Dave.
So she's in 6 for the right reasons, because she's the top of the bottom bunch. But much like Elete Toms, I've got question marks about around Cheltenham. I think everyone knows it's brighter days ahead for the Champion Hurdle. Now, I guess my frustrations with Brighter Days Ahead are the same as everybody else's. She's clearly a phenomenal horse, but why doesn't she put it in at Cheltenham? There was some talk about the Super Dammer, Mum Matney, the progeny there, not liking Cheltenham. But then Caldwell Potter won the Festival Novices Handicap Chase last year. So maybe all the siblings are going to think, oh, we are allowed to win at Cheltenham now. And that might be the difference. But that's not the whole reason.
And she's only had 2 runs, hasn't she? It's not like she's had 8 goes and not 1.
Absolutely. And the thing is, with the mare's novice performance, she was beaten by Golden Ace, which at the time might have looked like a little bit of a fluke. But then Golden Ace has still won a Champion Hurdle for all that she was gifted it. So getting beat by Golden Ace twice isn't the worst form as it might have looked to begin with. I think she was... in that mare's novice hurdle, I think it wasn't the best ride from Jack Kennedy. He's admitted that himself. But whether you'd say she really would have reversed the form or not, I think it's irrelevant at this stage of their careers. The run last year, Gordon said she wasn't going very well from the start, and she looked like that. She wasn't jumping as fluid as she normally does. And I know they didn't pick up an issue straight after the Champion Hurdle, but she flopped at Punchestown, which, as far as I'm concerned, confirms something was amiss. So I'm happy to draw a line through it. You look at the performance last time out, though, when she battered Lossiemouth. She did something similar at Leopardstown before, where it's been just a phenomenal effort where you look at her and think she actually is a bit of a freak of a horse. Now, she got a 162 RPR for that in the DRF. With her £7 allowance, that I put her pushing 170s. We've got the new Lion who's favourite for this race, who still is only rated 159. He's not even putting a performance in the 160. So while he might like Cheltenham and while he's open to some improvement, there's no horse in this race other than Constitution Hill who can put in a performance that would be pushing the 170s. And the last time Constitution Hill did that was 3 years ago now. As we're recording this, it's on the Wednesday. Nicky Henderson's saying that it's 50-50 whether he goes to the Champion Hurdle. It depends on a schooling session today.
Would you like some breaking news on that? That has just come in. Now, this is probably going to be dated for you as you're watching this after we're recording it, but this is literally just broken for us. So we're trying to give you as up to date as we possibly can. Significant drift. Constitution Hill 1-14, not to run in the Champion Hurdle as outcome of crucial schooling session looms.
Beautiful.
So he's suddenly on the drift there. Does that change your thinking at all?
Well, no, because I don't think he bears any relevance to me on how Brighter Days Ahead performs. If she runs at her best, she'll put in a figure that he can only just about keep up with, and we don't know if he can do that anymore. If he doesn't turn up, then it makes no difference because she's going to run a decent performance, and then that should be best of the rest. But obviously, if she does underperform, there's enough depth in this race that she's going to get beat, and it's not like she can run below her best and still win the race. So I think she's got a phenomenal chance. I would forgive her for those 2 runs. The reason she's 6th and not further up on the list is for the fact that we know that she might have a bit of an issue with Cheltenham, but Gordon's a smart trainer. He's had horses that have had issues before where they've been able to figure things out. They said they're going to change a few things for him. I liked the fact that he said that they were going to maybe stable her outside of Cheltenham as a bit of a difference, because I remember years ago when Goshen was being tried for the Champion Hurdle, Gary Moore said he'll take him for a ride out in Tesco car park, and I'm thinking that's not going to be the the method that's going to fix a horse. But I think Brighter Days Ahead, without doubt, we could all agree that she's got a load of ability. And I think she's the one that should win the champion hurdle this year, especially with those new breaking. But it wouldn't have mattered if he was in the lineup. We would have just got a better price.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? 11-4 though at the time of recording with Bitano for Brighter Days Ahead. And as I say, we're trying to give you as up-to-date information as we have. But of course, you'll know the outcome of that schooling session that went on this morning for us anyway. So just bear with us in terms of timings and things like that. Right, that is a countdown though for the lads' best bets, 10 to 6. Up now though, quiz time. This show is proudly sponsored by Bitano, and they have an offer for you. Bet £10, get £40 in free bets. You can take advantage of this offer by clicking the link in the description. Usual T's and C's apply. Thank you so much, Bitano, for sponsoring our show. Right, it's everyone's favourite time. It is quiz time. So 10 questions for the lads. They've got their whiteboards at the ready. Now, the first 8 questions require your whiteboards, I should say. The last 2 questions, it's going to be fastest answer first. So, first question up. Yes or no, did AP McCoy ever ride a winner in the Cheltenham Gold Cup?
Can't spell.
I was very much I was very much enjoying looking at Andrew writing the word yes with a made-up letter. But yes, you are both correct. 1997, this Mulligan, of course, in 2010, with synchronized. Question number 2. Who is the only trainer to win the Champion Hurdle, Champion Chase, and Gold Cup in the same year? The Holy Trinity. Only trainer to do the Holy Trinity treble.
Oh, yeah. I like these questions. I do quite like the quiz when I know the answers.
When you know the answers. Yeah, did you devise this quiz? And also a bonus point if you can get what year. I don't know if there's a bonus point. I'm
let's
making
not
up the
do the
rules
years.
once again. But if you want to do the year as well, then why not? By all means, go for it.
Oh, fine, I will then.
Have you put a year in as well?
Yeah.
For a potential bonus one. Okay, 3, 2, 1, spin.
Better get it right now.
Hedging my bets.
Nicky Mullins. What a dominant trainer. Could you imagine the force of that?
I've still got it wrong.
Henry de Bromhead, correct, Dave. And just 1 year shy. 2021. Good effort, though.
I wondered if it was the COVID list. I was trying to think of the year because did he win the national the same year as well? Didn't he, with the horse he got
Yes,
from
with the Gold Cup.
Gordon's?
Yeah, he did, exactly. He had that unbelievable year. That was 2021 with Henry de Bromhead.
I still keep the point for getting it right, though, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, for sure. You're very protective over these answers.
He takes these things seriously.
He certainly is. I do like Nicky Mullins, though. What a force to be reckoned with, that young
Not as good
lady.
as Willie Henderson, though.
No, exactly. No, I know. Yeah, why don't you go for that one? Right. Question 3. Poneros won last year's Triumph Hurdle at 100-1 for Willie Mullins, ridden by... Why are you two getting ready already? Ridden by John Joe O'Neill. Who was the jockey aboard Norton's Coin, the previous 100-1 winner at the Cheltenham Festival? The jockey aboard Norton's Coin, the previous 100-1 Cheltenham Festival winner. Get this one, fair play.
I think I know it because I think it's someone else normally.
I would not have got this in a million years.
I'm sure I haven't. Ready?
Oh, yes!
Graham do I get a half?
No!
Do I get a half?
Not half a point, Graham. Graham's just a standard guess for jockeys in that time, in that era. Graham McCourt is the
Well
answer.
done.
So very well done to you at home if you managed to get that answer as well. Question 4. Ruby Walsh was leading jockey at the Cheltenham Festival on how many occasions? Is it A, 11, B, 12, or C, 13? Multiple choice question. Ruby Walsh, leading jockey at the Fez. A, B, or C, 11, 12, or 13? Turn.
I think there's a clue in the question because you said Ruby Mullins.
I mean, I'm going to have to watch what I'm saying now because I would have put you away because it's not B, it's A. It's Andrew's correct. 11 times. 11 times leading jockey at the Cheltenham Festival. So let's have a quick check of the scores. Dave has got 3 points on the board. Andrew has got 2. That was question 4. On to question 5. How many times did Altior win at the Cheltenham Festival? I mean, super bonus points if you can get the races. How many times did Altior win? at Cheltenham? The concentration in both of your faces. I've never seen you pay.
I don't like questions. I feel like it's so obvious, but then when it is, I'll spit it round and everybody will be like, no, that's not even the same
Okay,
person.
ready? 3, 2, 1. 3 and 3. Supreme, Arkle, and Queen Mother.
Champion
It's
Chase, yeah.
actually 4 times, 2 champion chases. No. Supreme, Arkle, champion chase times 2. So you've both done very well.
Slightly
No cigar.
patronising, but we'll take
Very
it.
patronising, exactly. You've done very well. Yeah, very close, but ultimately
But you're both
wrong.
wrong.
Ultimately wrong there. Right, question 6. Bob Ollinger impressively won the Stayers Hurdle at last year's Cheltenham Festival. Can you name the other 2 Cheltenham Festival races that he has won? The other 2 races. Again, I'm going to give bonus points if you can get the year, but I would be terrible on the year front, so I'm not going to hold you to that by any means. Bob Ollinger. What other 2 races away from the Stayers Hurdle?
We'd probably get the year if we got the race name right, wouldn't we? That the 2 would go
I know,
hand
to
in
be fair,
hand.
that's the biggest question. What was this race called? I'm not going to penalise you if you get a different name.
He didn't really win the second one either, did he? I'm still not giving him the credit for that one.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. No. It was the Ballymore.
Yeah, the
Wait, the
Turners.
Turners. Now, okay, this is Dave. Yours has confused me. So yeah, the Ballymore, which is now known as the Turners, so correct if we're taking it as that, and then it was the Turners, which
yeah,
was
the
known as the
JLT.
JLT
When
a
Galloping
long
fell.
time ago when it was known as the JLT. So technically, 2 points there. Not quite for Andrew. That's had to rewire my brain to remember what these races are even called in that one. Right, question 7. Nico de Boinville has won the Supreme Novices Hurdle 3 times aboard Altior, Shishkin and Constitution Hill. His most dominant victory came aboard Constitution Hill, but by how many lengths did he win by? Multiple choice here. Was it A, 20, B, 21, C, 22 or D, 23 lengths?
Oh, I wrote one without the multiple choice. I would like a bonus point if I get this correct, please. Is that how
Why?
it works?
No.
Because I wrote it without the multiple choice. Imagine being
you
that
did
smart.
it without? Oh, you wrote it up before I revealed. Oh.
But then imagine I get it wrong. This
I
is the
know,
this is the same as the Altior one. It's so obvious.
That's it. That will then penalise you for being far too quick with your answers. Okay, you both ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Spinny spin. Yes.
Oh, well done.
No. Dave got the point there. I'm not going to give you the bonus point. I'm just going to give you a clap for managing to get that
Thank
before the
you.
multiple choice came up. 22 lengths. Constitution Hill absolutely destroyed the field by in the Supreme Novices Hurdle. Right, question.
Is it over now?
No, it's not. He's still got so much more to come. I know you're buoyed by that. Right, question 8. John Bond has run at the Cheltenham Festival 3 times, coming second in the Supreme, in the Arkle and in the Champion Chase. Can you name all the horses that he came second behind?
Okay.
Ooh. So in the Supreme, Arkle, Champion Chase, the 3 horses that beat him. So I'm holding up 3 as if that's going to be a clue for you in any way. Supreme 2022, Arkle 2023, and in the Champion Chase 2025.
Yeah, I've abbreviated the middle person's name, but you'll know who it
That's
is.
okay. We can get nicknames.
I've just written one letter. Yeah, whoever it is, it's that one. That's it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, just give it an A. I'm sure they've got an A in there now.
They do actually. Well done,
Oh,
Kate.
yeah.
2023 Supreme.
2023 Arkle.
Yeah.
Who beat him in the
2022 Supreme, yeah?
Arkle. 2022 Supreme.
Not that maths because I haven't got a clue.
It's buying more time though. It makes it seem like the workings
There's a
are
slight
there.
clue in the year for the Supreme winner, by the way, on a question we've just had, if that helps.
So what, pardon?
The 2022 Supreme,
Yeah.
to do with the distance. That's how I remember it.
Yes.
Basically, just giving you the answer.
Apologies.
Do we get a point for each, or is it just you've got to get all 3?
I don't know.
Let's have a point for whatever.
I haven't made this up. 3 points on offer.
Okay, ready?
Oh, come on.
We are hearing from the from the stage hand.
I've got
Right, turn around
Constitution
there.
Hill.
Yeah, Constitution Hill.
Some Mullins Beast.
It was some Mullins Beast.
And Marine
National. So
Yeah.
2 there for Andrew. And then Constitution Hill, El Fabiolo, Marine National. So I mean you're on the you're on the right lines, but
you.
some Mullins Beast doesn't quite count as El Fabiolo there though. So yeah, it was Constitution
That's
Hill.
what they call him in the yard, apparently.
I mean he is an absolute unit. El Fabiolo and Marine Nationale. Right, that was question 8. Whiteboards down now.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
First one to answer wins. Question 9. Right. Name the trainer. So I'm going to read out a list of horses who have all won at the Cheltenham Festival. Your job is to name the trainer responsible for all of them, either for their festival win or for one of their festival wins if they've won multiple times. It's the first to shout, but if you shout and get it wrong, you're locked out until your opponent makes a mistake. So don't go too soon, lads. Hold your run. Right.
Be still my beating heart.
Okay, starting off. Tipping Tim.
Tim Forster.
Okay, you're blocked out now until Dave makes a
Oh,
mistake.
I know
What
it is.
did Pigeon Island.
Oh,
Arctic Kinsman.
can't believe
No,
it.
you're blocked out. You're frozen out. Fundamentalist. Oh, what horse Fundamentalist was? Same difference.
Oh, come on.
The new one.
Oh, Nigel Twiston.
Yeah,
Davis.
see, you blew it for yourself. You would have got it on Pigeon Island.
Yeah.
You would have got it on Pigeon Island as well.
No, I should have got
Hold
on
your
Tip and Tim.
run.
I was thinking it's the green colour, isn't it?
Hold your run. That's why just bury the hands and count to 3. Wait those extra few seconds, and that's it. Right, it was Nigel Twiston Davis, the trainer. Question 10. Who am I? Name the horse. Same concept as before. I'm going to read out a series of facts about a Cheltenham Festival winner. First to shout, the horse wins. If you shout and get it wrong, you're locked out. Make note of that until your opponent slips up. Okay, first clue. I was bred in France. I know we're missing the buzzers this year. I was sent off 2-1 favourite in my first race at the Cheltenham Festival, which I won.
Duvan.
Yes! Goodness me! Is this see-through? Dave, you've absolutely smashed that. Duvan was the answer. I was going to go through the remaining clues. I switched disciplines for next season. I have a very successful brother. 2016, I won 4 Grade 1s. Jockey was wearing very recognisable silks. 2016 Cheltenham Festival, I went off as the 1-4 favourite with Sizing John coming in second. 13 races unbeaten. I lost the Queen Mother Champion Chase in 2017, coming 7th, and I fell in the same race in 2018. Didn't even need all of
No,
those
you
remaining
put us out of our
clues.
misery early.
I
Thank
did,
you.
yeah. As soon as you said French bread, I just thought to myself, it's going to be a Reiki horse. And then as soon as I saw the scarf, I was stuck with the fact it's going to be that.
Yes, your scarf that you bought in as
And
well, so the visual clue was there.
When you
Exactly.
said French bread, I just thought I'm hungry. I've not
Yeah,
eaten.
Someone get this man a baguette right now. Right, I think that is a comprehensive landslide of
It's
a
a
victory.
thrashing. Well done,
Sorry.
Dave.
Thank you.
Well done.
Sorry,
Thank
Andrew, but
you.
that is a comprehensive win
Do you
for
want to
Dave.
present him with his trophy?
I have absolutely
that nice
no
framed
idea.
picture of Sprinter Sacra.
To break down the 4th wall, I managed to smash a really nice framed photo of Sprinter Sacra that was in our backdrop before we started recording. So that is going to be Dave's prize. Very well done to you if you managed to get the answers to the quiz. Well, we really hope that you enjoyed the quiz. I certainly did. Once again, Dave, our victor of the quiz, and being presented with your prize, a beautifully smashed up photo of
you've even broken
Sprinter
the back.
Sacra. You know what? The amount of promotion it's now got in comparison just to being a background, it might be worth a few bob, even more so than it was beforehand in that stunning frame that it was that I will be replacing before anyone questions as to why. So very well done to you, Dave. But right, we better continue our countdown. 5 to your next best and then your nap. So Andrew, you're up first. Your 5th best bet.
Yeah, I'm going with Sortudo in the Albert Bartlett, under 320 on Friday. Now, some good stats with this race. We've seen so many upsets in this race over the years, and because the obvious horses, those who've won a Grade 1 last time out, got a terrible record, just 1 winner from 54 runners in the past 10 years. What you tend to find is it's a horse stepping up in trip, probably after running 2nd, 3rd or 4th in a graded race. Now, if you just backed horses who finished 2nd through to 4th in graded company last time out, 6 of the last 10 winners from 37 bets, a huge profit of £123 to a £1 stake at SP. Last year's 4 qualifiers included the 6-1 winner. And the year before, the 4 qualifiers not only included the 33-1 winner, but the 18-1 second. And the forecast paid over 570 quid. So there'll be a few qualify on that angle, including Olly Murphy's Uber Tuber, one that we've mentioned on Weekend Watch previously. But the one I like is Satudo, who finished 2nd in Grade 1 company last time out, behind I'll Sort. That was his first run beyond 2 miles since his sole point-to-point outing when he finished second over 3 miles. Now, he's always shaped as though he needs a good trip, and the only time he's finished out of the first 2 in his career was in the Champion Bumper last year, when he finished outpaced 7th of 17 and went a 33 to 1 shot behind Bambino Fever. And I just love the way he's progressing. I think I know he's in the tourneys, but he's a shorter price for this. I think he's going to love the step up to 3 miles here. And I think he's a cracking each way better at double figure price.
And of course, the horse that we were talking about earlier on, so that form line being really focused in on there, 12 to 1 with Botano ahead of the Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle. Number 5 for you, Dave.
Yeah, so we're into the top 5, we're into the serious ones now, aren't we? It's another handicapper trained by Dan Skelton. It's Be Aware for the Grand Annual. Now, when we did our season preview, this was a horse that I talked about, saying that he's either going to do things properly over fences and he'll be an Arkle contender, or things won't go to plan and I'll put him up for the Grand Annual. So following on from that episode, I'm doing just that, because he started off his season with a win in a handicap chase, just £7,000 he picked up for that. But since he's placed second in the 3 graded races since, he's picked up like £55,000 in prize money. So it's like a decent campaign that it's been for him. I guess the slight concern with Be Aware is he won once over hurdles and then never won again. He won first time over hurdles as well. Now he's won once over fences so far. Is he going to be the horse that never wins again? I very much hope not, obviously, with putting him up in this race. Now, last year when he was well fancied for a Coral Cup, which looked like a bit of a plot, there was previews that were done, or at least interviews at the yard, where Harry Skelton did not sound confident in the slightest. He kept saying about the fact that he's a buzzy horse, he doesn't like the hustle and bustle of the big fields. I contest that to somewhat. As much as he flopped at Cheltenham and he flopped at Aintree afterward, he was well fancied in that race. They were big field handicaps. He's run a few times in big field sizes, especially handicaps, and he's gone all right. He was second, wasn't he, in a Greatwood as well. So he can handle the hustle and bustle of a handicap. Now, this year, some of the conversations that have been had with both Dan Skelton and Harry Skelton, they both sound much more bullish about his chances. He's a horse that obviously needs to be ridden in a certain way, but even when he got his pocket pinch last time, by no questions asked, I think it was, he still looks like a horse that had much more ability than maybe the figure would have shown that day. I think his last few runs, he's run into the 150s in terms of RPRs, but he's rated, I think, 147 now. That is £11 higher than he started the season. I thought they might have plotted him a bit quieter than that, but you saw him last year with Unexpected Party, another grey for the stable, where they just got beat by Jazzy Matty, didn't they? I think Harry Skelton will potentially learn from that. As much as these are slightly different horses, the Grand Annual's a nice finish. We'll remember some horses that don't necessarily jump so well in the closing stage, but there's 2 quick fences that come in succession. He jumps beautifully, as he showed when he was behind Lilamba. I think Harry Skelton's just got to deliver this horse at the right time. He'll be in contention as they jump the last, and then it's just a case of whether Harry Skelton can just deliver him right on the line. But if there's a jockey I'd want to be on him to do exactly that, it is Harry Skelton. And I do really think that he's one of those. I'm obviously advising all of these ones as win bets as far as I'm concerned, even the ones that are at bigger prices. He's definitely going to be bang there in the frame. I think he's going to run a massive race. He warrants favouritism in this race, and I'm hoping that we're going to get some redemption for him getting beat in that Coral Cup last year.
Yes, a lot of people will be hoping for redemption for that run, and Be Aware, he's been tipped up by a whole load of people as well, a whole load of Shrudies, so adding your name into the mix as well there, Dave. Right, number 4, Andrew.
I'm going to the Champion Hurdle. I'm taking on Dave's Brighter Days Ahead with Alexi at an each way price, 20 to 1. That'll do nicely, particularly if you can be on anti-post. 5th of the odds, 1, 2, 3. Could cut up to fewer than 8 runners, and only be 2 places on the day, particularly when Constitution Hill decides he likes the all-weather and the flat more than he does hurdles, which I suspect is going to happen. So Alexi is been a progressive handicapper in the last season or 2. He reappeared with a solid second to Celtic Dino at Chepstow in mid-October on fast ground. Followed that with a win at Ascot on good ground, and then because he went to Cheltenham, the Champion Hurdle course and distance, and he bolted up in the Greatwood Handicap Hurdle. 18 runners that day, won by 6 lengths, very well backed as well. He was beaten next time out at Ascot, but bounced back to win the Kingwell Hurdle on deep ground at Wincanton the other day. Now, the impressive thing about that was he belied the fears about him not handling the ground, and he clocked the best pro form speed figure of his life, suggesting that he's still improving. He can take a grip, but it's a case of the faster they go, the better for him. And I'd have preferred a sort of 16-runner champion hurdle and switched off in the back. We're going to get 7 or 8 runners here, I think, but I still think they'll go fast enough for him. I think Alexi's the each way bet at this stage.
Yeah, 20-1 and such a wide open champion hurdle as well. 20-1 with Bitano about Alexi, who, as you say, we know likes the course. We know has an awful lot of ability. Not a bad old way to play that at all. Number 4, Dave.
Number 4 for me, I'd love 20-1 on this one as well, but we're not going to find that. We're into the nitty-gritty with the top 3.
Yeah.
It's Old Park Star for the Supreme, though. My nap last year was Copec de Board of the Supreme. This is a race that I do like to target, and we know it's a race that probably does stand up for, I guess, being one of the easier ones to find the winners in. I say that with this year looking like a pretty deep renewal. There's some depth in there, and the main part of that depth, rather than it making me feel like I want to oppose Old Park Star or think that he's beatable, it's more just the fact that he's holding up his price. Copec de Board was just a shade of odds on when we tipped him last year, whereas Old Park Star, I think still 15-8 with Bitano is way too big a price as far as I'm concerned. Now, since 2014, there's been just 2 Supremes with a runner holding an official rating of 150 or higher, where the winner wasn't rated that high. 2017 is a year where there was no horses rated 150, and LeBake won that, so that's a bit of an outlier year, I'd probably say. But those 2 years were 2022 and 2024. They were both horses, or both races where there was just 1 horse ticking that box. Tully Hill and Dysart Dynamo, both Willie Mullins, both wearing tongue ties though, and in fairness, Dysart Dynamo bumped into Constitution Hill, didn't he? I just mean that puts Old Park Star on a level that's just beyond everything else. He's the only 150s rated runner in this field, and he's won at Cheltenham too, hasn't he? That December trial that he won in, it's seen some fair horses win it, but not Supreme winners, but he's recorded the highest RPR as far as I'm concerned in the history of that race. His Rossington Main victory was really good as well. Again, has some nice names on the honours roll. You've got Neon Wolf that got just done by Willoughby Court in the Turners. John Bond won that race as well. So again, nice names, but they don't win at the festival. But Old Park Star again blew the records on the figures in that race and was well ahead of those ones. So I think his performances warrant his position in the market. Now, the Talk does have the graded form in the book, but I think he's just a bit more exposed now. Not exposed necessarily in a bad way, people would say, because he's won back-to-back grade 1s, but the figures in doing that in both those performances aren't high enough for the horses that would typically win those races and go on to win a Supreme. Like I say, he's taken up a bit of the market, which is helping with the price. El Kairos is a horse we put on that national preview show we did at the start of the season. I like him, but he can't jump at the moment, can he? And he hasn't put the figures in there just yet. Sober Glory, I would say, would be the biggest danger from my perspective if Harry Cobden keeps the ride. But I think he's just going to set the race up for Old Park Star. While Sober Glory probably is a fair price at 12-1, I think there's much more value in the 15-8 about Old Park Star. I think he'll go off 6-4 or shorter, and I think he'll win.
I agree with you as well. Supreme Novices hurdle there, currently 15-8 with Bitano about Old Park Star. Right, we're getting closer and closer to crunch time. Number 3, Andrew.
Gold Cup.
Yes, that little race.
Django Bay.
Ooh,
Yep.
Okay.
Love him.
Good, I'm glad.
I'm going to after time again.
Yep.
Tipped him up last year in the Arkle.
Nice.
And
Did you think it was likely for the most part?
no, and the market didn't either. I think he touched 300-1 on the exchanges that day, and he was up with the pace, dropped back, came again. Obviously needs further, and because he went to Aintree, and although he was beaten last time, it was still a good effort. He reappeared with an impressive 9-length win over Gidley Park, over 2 miles 5 at Ascot. And then, of course, he's running the King George. And Nico has taken the Adam Condrat route wide round the outside, ran about half a mile further than everybody else, I think. And the steady pace didn't help either. He's kept on well. I know some people are poo-pooing, his stamina based on that, saying it didn't prove he stays 3 miles, let alone the Gold Cup of 3 miles, 2.5 furlongs. I still thought it was an excellent effort. I think he's got so much more to come over this sort of trip. And I think he's entered in the Ryanair, isn't he? But they're talking Gold Cup now. He's virtual favourite, and I think he's going to run a huge race and probably win.
Oh, you're both starting to really agree with me now in these races, which is no good thing for you guys. A very good thing for me, though. Django Bay for the Gold Cup, currently priced up at 9-2 again with Bitano. We are just hearing breaking news for us. Again, you will already know this. Constitution Hill is officially out. officially out then. So what we talked about earlier on with brighter days ahead, you said it didn't factor in anyway, so it hasn't changed your thinking at all.
And we did, again, we'll go back to that jump season preview show, which is a banger from all the knowledge we've got from that Andrew said that he would be the biggest flop of the season, and I said he'd be the biggest surprise winner at Cheltenham, because I said I don't think we'll see him in the spring in the Grade 1s.
Yeah.
So pat on the back for both of us there.
Yeah, exactly. For all that we would have loved to have seen him, but still though, pats on the back though, silver lining where it is due. Right, Dave, number 3.
So number 3, actually Andrew's number 3 is a bit of a segue into this race. You won't think it from the horse that I'm going to mention, but it's Kopek de Boord for the Arkle.
Ah, yeah.
Let me show you the link. Nicky Henderson said that Lulamba reminds me of Django Bay, and that whereas I looked at the horse's potential as a chaser, maybe he was going to be a champion chaser, which is what I would look for in an Arkle contender. Nicky Henderson's already saying that he's probably going to have to go up in trip to see the best of him. So that's not ideal for an Arkle contender, for all that Django Bay did go and win. But that's a little bit of a side point. Now, Kopek de Boord is a bit of a conundrum in this contest, given he's had just that one start. There's been a lot talked about the schooling session that he had post-racing, where I think he was led up by Impere Pass as well, and people are sort of reading into that because he's come out and run well since. But he's had just the one start. The 2 winners of the race that I can remember that had just one start both ran in the same calendar year as well. So I think he's trying to do something that hasn't been done before, but that is Kopek de Boord, isn't it? He won the Supreme last year in a hood, when everyone was saying no one since Flown had any headgear. Kopek de Boord just dispelled that. With no William Money being seen this season, it's not easy to substantiate the supreme form using him, but obviously Romeo Coolio was a long way behind, and he's been a phenomenal horse this season. He slammed Savile to a Monday in that Supreme. He won at Aintree Afty. Even Tutti Quanti won the William Hill Handicap Hurdle recently. He's talked about in a champion hurdle. Aranci won that Punchestown Grade 1 that Kopek de Boord did flop him, but he was battered by him in the Supreme. Even Carbo, who was beaten well out of sight, is a solid mid-140s horse. So I think all told, that is an incredibly strong Supreme, which is going to stand up for the next few seasons too. He didn't have much to beat on his chase debut, but he was at least as impressive over Lovely Hurling as Final Demand and Cargase were, but he never left second gear. He was pretty keen at the start of the race. He settled into it nicely though, and like I say, towards the end, he genuinely didn't look like he'd left second gear. Now, if Lulamba was a year older taking him on, I would think a bit more of it, like him as a threat. But with Kopek de Boord, despite the fact he's only had the one run, he is a bit more mature. He's got a bit more scope and development within him, especially on that chase debut, because Lulamba was really lit up, and his jumping still has to be questioned. Now, Kopek de Boord is going to probably go off from the front. I'm sure Nico will try and lay up with him, but the way that these 2 horses jump over fences, he will not be able to jump a fence as fast as Kopek de Boord is in the start of the race. If he's able to hang on to his coattails, he might be able to put a bit of a challenge towards the end. But I think Kopek de Boord's just going to run these ragged. He's going to put everyone else's jumping under serious pressure. And the 9-4 that he's listed there with Battano is massive. I think there's a good chance that Kopek de Boord, once he's confirmed for the race, because there must still be an air of caution around him, I think he's going to go off favourite. And I think Kopek de Boord does win the Arkle.
9-4 with Battano, about a very, very talented horse, Kopek de Boord, in that Arkle. 9-4 with Battano. Right, we say about crunch time, but Next Best and Nap are up for the lads next. However, before then, we're going to speak to a trainer having a very good season, hoping that can translate to the Cheltenham Festival. Now, I'm delighted to say joining us is top trainer and Battano brand ambassador, Olly Murphy. Olly, we really appreciate your time. We know it's a really busy day of racing, but first and foremost, I've got to ask, how is the mood in camp ahead of Cheltenham?
Yeah, it's an exciting time of year. Obviously, it's the Olympics of our sport, and yeah, I suppose we've got 8 to 10 horses to go to war with for the week. A few with each way chances, and just hope one hits the bullseye.
Yeah, he's hoping so. So I've got to ask you first and foremost, we want to get your top 3 horses, top 3 chances ahead of the festival. So starting with the 3rd most likely chance.
Yeah, I've got loads of each way chances, but I'd say at number 3 would be a horse called the Bluesman. He's 2 from 3 since joining me. If he gets in, he will run in the novice handicap chase over 2.5 miles. He bolted up at Kempton a couple of weekends ago. I think he's still feasibly handicapped, and I think a real fast run race will suit him well.
Perfect. Right, number 2, please.
Number 2 is Resplendent Grey, if he does go for the Ultima. Just kind of waiting to see whether the owner will allow me to run him in that race. He is keen to run him in the Gold Cup. He's never had a runner in that race before. And I can see where he's coming from, but I still think he's a horse who's well capable of winning another big handicap. Ran very well at Windsor. Winter Millions weekend, and I feel if he gets into rhythm now, an Ultimate could really suit him.
And drum roll, please, the best chance you think ahead of the Fez?
Yeah, my best chance to winner, I think, in 2 weeks' time is Wade Out in the National Hunt Chase. He's been trained for the race all year. He's had a couple more runs for a bit of experience. He's obviously seen the track. He's going to be fitted with a set of cheek pieces. And I think the trip's going to bring out that little bit more improvement. So really look forward to running him. He stays well, races behind the bridle. And if he just gets in a nice rhythm, I can really see him coming home strong.
Amazing, right? Confident selections there then. Lads, I'm going to open the floor up to you two for your own questions. Andrew, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sorry, Olly Murphy. I thought you said Ocean Murphy. I was going to ask him how he found Constitution Hill last week at several concern. I've been put away here. But seriously, you were really unlucky not to score with Active Authority in the Martin Pipe last year, bumping into Wadhoo and finishing second to that one is basically like having a winner. So what do you think of his chances again in the Martin Pipe, assuming he's going for it?
Yeah, looking forward to running him. Like you said, typical bumping into Wadhoo last year, a complete handicap blot. He's in good form. I'm thinking about fitting him with a set of cheek pieces now for the first time as well. Going back to Cheltenham, he loves a big field. He loves going left-handed, and he loves a little bit of nicer ground as well. So yeah, we're obviously up a little bit higher than we were last year, but he's in good form, and fingers crossed he's kind of got a good each way chance, and Lewis Saunders, who rode him last year, will ride him again.
Excellent. They're saying it's quicker on the new course now than the old course, so hopefully by Friday it'll have dried out enough for him.
Yeah, I think, looks like we've got a pretty dry week ahead of us, and we know that place, it dries very, very quick. So, hopefully they have a dryish forecast up until racing. He's in good form. I actually tried to make him into a Pertemps horse this year, and I didn't feel like he stayed first time out in Newbury over 3 miles. So back to an intermediate trip suits him well. He loves coming through horses, loves a big field, and be amazing. I think he could go on better this season.
Excellent. The only other question was regarding Stick to the Plan. Of course, he won the Persian War in a first-time hood on very fast ground at Chepstow in October. Beaten twice since without the headgear. Will he be running in the county? Will he have the headgear on? If so.
Yeah, he actually galloped this morning, galloped very well. He has had a little wind up, which I think is going to help him. I will probably leave the hood off in a strongly run handicap. I do feel like this horse has got the ability to run well off 138 at a big price. The faster they go, the better he is. He'll be dropped in, ridden to come home strong. And really looking forward to running him. He's in good form. And he's a horse I think a lot of.
Excellent. Well, best of luck with those.
Dave, your own questions.
Yeah, so Ollie, you've mentioned that Wade Out's probably your best chance at the Cheltenham Festival this year. I'd have to agree. One thing I do have to ask, though, is after the November Cheltenham victory, which was very eye-catching with the fact that he was ridden so well by Sean, you did mention he was a bit of a toe rag, and you did give a nod that he would probably wear some sort of headgear, so you've confirmed there'll be cheek pieces. As a punter, how much can we trust Wade Out on the Tuesday?
Yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from. I actually feel like he's going to be a better horse on better ground. He isn't over big now. I think he handles soft ground fine, but I think he'll find it easy to jump off better ground. Obviously, up in trip again is going to help him. We've done a few little bits and bobs with him in the meantime. He's done a lot of work with Laura Collett. Just hopefully now he's got a little bit more experience. We'll probably ride him with a little bit of room as well. And just a mixture of everything now. I'd like to think you would see him go through the race a lot better. A lot of people at the start of the season were thinking he's a horse who should have been trained for an RSA, not a handicap. But we're going to get into the handicap. We're 143, I think, or 144. He's obviously going to have plenty of weight in his back, but it's going to be pretty compressed weights-wise. And I just feel like if he goes through the race in the right manner now, I don't think you'll see a horse come home stronger from the bottom of the hill to the top of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be great for Sean as well, wouldn't it, after missing the ride on Haiti Killers last year to get redemption. So we know he'll be going hammer and tongs on him. Thanks for that, Ollie.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Ollie. We really appreciate it. And of course, best of luck ahead of the Cheltenham Festival. So on to the next best bets. Andrew, you're up.
Stayers hurdle. Marchantou.
Yes, love him.
7-year-old, like 6 of the last 10 winners. If you backed all 36 qualifiers in the past 10 years, you'd made almost 50 quid to a £1 stake at SP. And the interesting one about this one was this was Emma Lavelle's first winning handicap debutant to prep in a Grade 1 since Paisley Park in 2018, because we know what Paisley Park did after that. Now, Marchand was thought good enough to run in the Albert Bartlett last season. Acquitted himself well, finishing 7th at 25 to 1, doing 3rd best of those who raced near the early pace when, as is typical for that race, coming from the back of the field is a big advantage. Now, he's warmed up this season with 3 wins here at Cheltenham. One of those on the old course at the October meeting, beating Electric Mason. That one reversed the form at Haydock next time, where he ran a bit of a stinker as the 4-to-1 favourite. But he was ridden patiently when you had to be on the front end, and it was just a case of too bad to be true. Now, I was at Cheltenham on New Year's Day. I watched him go out on the track, and he looked fantastic. And he's got that arched neck and like to one side and sort of slight jig joggy, and which is a sort of signal of his well-being. He did that again when winning the Cleve as well on trials day, and so he's definitely one to have a look at in the paddock, because he just seemed to display the same sort of thing with his head when he runs a big race. But he's 3 from 3 at Cheltenham this season. He's going the right way. He's the right age and stats profile for the race, and that 7-length win over Imposer Tois, who was touted for this race beforehand. I think that sort of signalled his arrival on the stayers hurdle scene. And although Tiapu and Bob Olinger are going to run their races, Tiapu ideally would need it very, very soft. We saw that he didn't get his conditions last year and he lost out to Bob Olinger. And I think the younger guard are going to come through here in the shape of Marchand too.
Taking on the old brigade and the established brigade in the stayers hurdle with Marchand 6-1 with Betano. Next best bet time for you, Dave.
Yeah, similar position as Andrew for the next best. I've gone for a 3-mile hurdle race too, but I've gone for the Albert Bartlett against Andrew Sortudo. But from the same yard, I'm hoping that Willie sends Dr. Steinberg to this race. The reason I say I hope he's sending him to the race is that Willie's said in some interviews that he's worried about how keen he can be, which is why he features prominently in the Turners market, although he is shorter for this race in the normal markets and on the machine as well. Paul Townend said that he's got no concerns about him being able to get him to settle over this 3-mile trip, but I'm sure as a jockey he wants to get a good ride in every single race. But I don't necessarily see the same thing as Willie Mullins. I don't know whether I can sit here and say that and be taken seriously, but I don't think he's as keen to be a problem in this particular distance. He's just sort of running ears pricked. He just looks like a happy horse. And at the DRF, I do concede that he was keen and he did need to take a lead, but as soon as Henry de Bromhead's horse went in front of him, he settled down well enough to go and do what he did in the DRF, and it was a phenomenal display. But that horse of Henry de Bromhead's that was keen in front of him failed to finish, was pulled up. The 3rd and the 4th that laid up with the pace as well didn't see out their races. So for him to be as keen as he was, and then was able to settle, he was able to go and win the race and sort of put up a bit of a demolition job in there. I thought it was a phenomenal performance. Now, we can look at last year's renewal of an Albert Bartlett and say, well, it probably suits horses coming from off the pace like Jasmine DeVoe did, but I've always liked the Albert Bartlett for horses that can show a bit of speed. And you look at some of the horses that have won it prior to that. Stella Story was on the pace, the Jukebox Man led throughout and just got his pocket pinched. Stay Away Fay led, Vanillier was prominent, Monkfish led, Manella Indo was prominent, Kilbrick and Storm was on the pace, and that's just talk about horses that have won it in the last decade. So I think his running style is going to be suited to go and win in an Albert Bartlett. And if you look at his 3 hurdle runs as well, they've come in fields of 8, 5 and 8, and it's a Willie Mullins novice hurdle. And not many horses are going to want to lay out with them, and not many horses are going to want to give them a lead because it might affect their handicap marks going forward or where they rank after. In his 3 bumpers, admittedly he was beaten in 2 of them, he ran in fields of 13, 14 and 10, and he didn't look keen at all in any of those races. So it's Cheltenham Festival, it's a big novice hurdle where there's going to be a lot of runners that line up. Something will give Dr. Steinberg a lead if he has to make the run, and I've got no issue with him, but I think he is a phenomenal bet in the Albert Bartlett. For me, he's another horse that should be around about a 6-4 poke, but we're talking about him as a 5-2 poke. I think Dr. Steinberg will win the Albert Bartlett as long as Willie Mullins sends him here.
Yeah, Willie Mullins with his record in the Albert Bartlett as well. I don't know if I've mentioned I led up a winner for Willie Mullins in this race a few years ago. So yeah, I know. I thought
News to me.
Yeah, I thought it would be a good opportunity just to bring it up once again. Right, next best bet being Dr. Steinberg. I'm very confident, so I'm excited to know what your nap is going to be. If the confidence is that high behind the next best bet. Andrew, drum roll please, your nap.
I'm going the handicap route, and it's Bold Endeavour in the Per Temps final.
Of course you are.
you know me. I don't go for a short price one. So yeah, this one is I think is a very big price given his latest run and what he did at the festival in 2024. Remember, 2024 festival, Nicky Henderson horses were badly out of sorts, and although I tipped up anti-post Bold Endeavour for this race on that day, I talked myself out of betting him on the day because the Henderson horses were badly out of sorts and most of them were running absolute stinkers or were being withdrawn. This one was allowed to take his chance and he finished fourth at 50 to 1, having drifted from 25. That was off a mark of 143. Now, maybe he wasn't 100% that day because he ran 2 shockers that spring at the Entry Festival and at Haydock in early May. Then last season he rocked up for Laura Morgan, 3 runs for her. It didn't produce anything at all, but he returned to Nicky Henderson at the start of this season. And last time out, his sole run this term, he finished 3rd in the Huntingdon qualifier in January. A real eye catcher that day, coming from off the pace of a not particularly strongly run race. So he's off a mark of 130 now, I think. Well down on his mark in this race in 2024 and running so well. He's a 10-year-old, yes, but we've seen plenty of older horses run well in this race. And of course, he's a Fame and Glory. And
Here we go.
Regular listeners to Weekend Watch will know that I like older Fame and Glories. They tend to improve from the age of 8, but particularly good record at the age of 10 and 11. They just keep getting better and keep running well, even though they're well into the veteran stage. So I think Bold Endeavour, well handicapped. What price are we? 20
to 1.
I think he's a very good each way proposition in the per temps.
And he led a lot of smart horses in that Kempton workout the other day for Nicky Henderson. So he was going with the right horses.
Yeah,
there.
I'm glad you mentioned Liddy because he does tend to race prominently, which is not always ideal for the per temps. But having raced prominently and still placed in the race off a higher mark when the stable was out of sorts a couple of years ago, I think I'm going to take the chance.
Yeah, 20 to 1 with Vitano. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I led up a winner in this attempt a few years ago. I will nearly stop there, but Bold Endeavour for a nap at 20 to 1 for Andrew. Dave, I'd say you probably ruined the fact that I let Andrew go first for this one, but we know what he's like. He just goes rogue when it comes to a nap. Your own nap, please.
Yeah, so I've gone for one at a short price, and it's also one that you can't take much credit for because you got her beat in the Grand Annual.
Don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I've ridden Dino Blue.
But it's
I can't take any credit at all for that.
Dino Blue in the Mare's Chase. Obviously, the purpose of doing this is we're trying to find respective value. We talked about this with Coppet de Board last year about the fact that, yes, he's a short price, but he should be a hell of a lot shorter. Dino Blue is crazy that she's 6 to 4. She should be long odds on as far as I'm concerned. And I'll talk about something interesting about her price as well when it comes to this time of year. But she's obviously my strongest fancy of the week, given the fact that she's the nap. I talked about her 12 months ago when she got beat in the race the year before behind Limerick Lace, where Mark Walsh just got outridden by the other jockey. Obviously, he watched the show last year, Mark Walsh, because I said just get that inside rail, kick for home early, and you'll be able to get the race won. Now, I know Allegory Devassi fell, possibly marred the performance somewhat, but she had her well beaten in there, and this would not look to be as good a renewal as far as I'm concerned. She has made a bad mistake in 2 of her 3 runs this season. I've already touched on the Grand Annual where she basically tried to take the second out home with her, and then she just basically tried to run through the last. But she's still never fallen over fences. So for a mare like her to potentially make mistakes, which is a tiny bit of a concern, she seemed to get away with them. And she was impeccable in this race last year with her jumping. She gets £2 from Spindleberry, who looks like the horse that could be the bit for Springer in this market, but she's beaten absolutely nothing of note. Her closest RPR to anything that would be like in the realm of a Dino Blue was a 160 RPR on a penultimate start, but I just don't think that form's worth anything. She was pulled up last time out in better company when they tried over 3 miles. That doesn't really, for me, lead into a Mare's Chase type horse. She's got to give Panic Attack a few pounds. Obviously, she won the Paddy Power Gold Cup and then won the Coral Gold Cup, the Coral Gold Cup at Newbury after. She's £12 inferior on official ratings though, and she's done her winning in handicap, so we know just how good she is. I just don't think there's anything in the race that could lay anywhere near Dino Blue in this race. And she's had her usual 3 prep runs as well. She has 3 runs coming into the festival. She's got an RPR of 159, 151, 163 this year. They're better than her 154, 135 and 158 coming into it 12 months ago. So she's at least as good as last year, but I think she's better. She put a career high RPR in this race 12 months ago of 163. Then she put another career high in of 166 at Punchestown after. And this is where I'm going to talk about the price perspective. She's been a full point shorter in both those races at Punchestown after, which I think is what her true price should be. So relatively, I think she should be a 2s on poke. She's 6-4. I cannot have Dino Blue beat in the Mare's Chase.
Yay! There you go. Then, yeah, 6-4 looks a great price, doesn't it? About good old Princess Dino ahead of the Mare's Chase. Right, lads, that is the list done and dusted. So I want to ask you both, looking at the list from each other, which horse or which bet would you be taking out to the other ones? As Andrew absolutely strains his spine there to try and see what Dave's best bets are. So Dave, you can go first. Which one out of Andrew's list would you take out?
There's definitely a few that are interesting. I took his nap last time in Torrent that didn't run. I'm hoping I'm not going to put the same curse.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put the same curse on Bold
Can't
Endeavour.
lose if they don't run.
Yeah, because I think his nap again, Bold Endeavour, like he's a cracking case that Andrew made for them, but definitely a horse that at the price that he is borderline offensive as well. He's without a doubt, he's way too big a price. He's got a proper chance. I think the potential as well, 9 of the last 10 winners have worn a tongue tie, which is a bit of a strange stat to put in there. So if Nicky Henderson puts a tongue tie on like he did for Doddy the Great last year, that could like bolster his claims and it could see his price contract even further. So yeah, Bold Endeavour would definitely be the one of Andrew's I'd have to nab if I could.
Nicely bolstered. Andrew?
None of Dave's are all rubbish.
No.
Yeah, he's made an incredibly good case for Dino Blue, certainly at the price.
Yeah,
but I
certainly
think
at the price.
old Park Star was usually impressed with that one. Well, in all his starts this season, particularly at Haydock last time, the way he powered away.
And Betano have been impressed by your selections as well because they are offering us a boost. Cheltenham Festival special. So here we go. Andrew Miles, Cheltenham best bets. Not your nap though. We're not including that. So we're going with your next best bet and your third best bet. Mashantu and Messiah's Hurdle as well as Django Bay in the Gold Cup. Both to win. Non-runner, no bet there, was 37-1. Now boosted to 50-1
nice.
with Betano. Nice indeed. And Dave, we have been able to include your nap in this one. So Dino Blue in the Mare's Chase, again, non-runner, no bet. And also Dr. Steinberg in the Albert Bartlett, both to win, was 15-2, now 9-1. So a pair of doubles there. Betano.co.uk/GG to take advantage of both of those boosts. But lads, thank you so much to a pair of you two for all of your hard work, for dressing beautifully as well. I don't know how you're going to up this for the Cheltenham Festival. Are you both going?
Yes.
Yep.
Every day?
Not sure yet. Probably Tuesday and Friday.
Okay, Tuesday. Okay, good day and crazy day.
Yep.
So enjoy that and enjoy your bets as well. Hopefully they all come in. And then, yeah, we'll still be seeing you though, because no doubt your love for the work, we'll still be seeing you back on this show in due course. A big thank you to you for watching. Do make sure to leave us a comment in the comments section. Either give us which of the horses of Andrew or Dave you are most likely to side with, or give us your best bet yourself ahead of the Cheltenham Festival. Big thank you to our sponsors, Betano, and enjoy the 2026 Cheltenham Festival.